And on the 2-year anniversary of Superstorm Sandy, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie found himself in a familiar spot. He went to the Jersey Shore, where he got into a shouting match with the protester. Jan Crawford is in Washington to show us how this confrontation went down. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. You know, it's been an interesting week for Governor Christie. He started with his state's response to the Ebola threat. Then he did some campaigning for Republican candidates up and down the East Coast. And then on Wednesday, he went at it with a constituent.
I got the picture. I read it.
When a former New Jersey councilman showed up Wednesday to criticize the pace of the restoration after the storm, Chris Christie let him have it.
I'll be more than happy to have a debate with you anytime you like, Guy, because somebody like you who doesn't know a damn thing about what you're talking about except to stand up and show off when the cameras are here. I've been here when the cameras aren't here, buddy, and done the work.
The governor, with support from others in the crowd, tried to move on. But when the protester wouldn't relent, Christie really let him have it.
So listen, you want to have the conversation later? I'm happy to have it, buddy. But until that time, sit down and shut up.
Sandy left behind an estimated 365,000 damaged or destroyed homes in New Jersey. And very little of the $1.8 billion set aside in a state-run reconstruction program has been handed out. Christie's critics say he's not moving fast enough, but the governor blames federal red tape.
Only about just shy of $300 million in 2 years' time has made its way to those affected families. So if people are heckling, you can sort of understand why they might be.
Wonderful. Absolutely.
As he was being escorted from the event, the heckler asked Christie to dinner.
I'll tell you, there's about 1,000 things I'll do tonight. Going to dinner with you is about number 1,001.
Perhaps that's because Christie's calendar has been full lately. As chairman of the Republican Governors Association, Christie has had a dizzying stretch of travel leading up to next week's midterm elections.
When Terry Branstad asks you to come to Iowa, you do not say no. Definitely not.
This week, Christie has been hit with questions over his response to a nurse quarantined after working with Ebola patients in West Africa.
With access to her cell phone, access to the internet, and takeout food from some of the best restaurants in Newark, she was doing just fine.
Casey Hickox is threatening a lawsuit against the Garden State.
Looks like you're going to have to defend this in court.
Well, whatever. Get in line. Been sued lots of times before. Get in line.
Governor Christie has never shied away from a verbal sparring match. He prides himself on his ability to be both brash and compassionate, as he told Gayle King in a recent interview.
He's not going to necessarily take your head off because he disagrees with something that you said.
I never did.
Oh, there were a couple of times I thought people were walking around with no heads.
Well, sure, and you know what? Those people deserve to have their heads taken off, and I'll still do that when I need to. But I don't just have one club in the bag for the golfers who are watching this, okay?
Yes.
You have to understand as a leader that there are times where you have to be tough and direct, and times where you have to be softer and listen. And I can do both.
Now, with this heckler, some people are saying that Christie's not going to be able to shut him up so easily. He's a former pro soccer player, and he helped a lot with all that cleanup after Hurricane Sandy. He says he's an independent, but I got to tell you this, a reporter asked him yesterday if he would vote for Christie for president, and he paused a minute and said no. Charlie?
Oh, really interesting.
Governor Christie got lots of clubs in that bag, but
yeah.
It's never a good sign when somebody in the heat of battle says buddy. But one of the best things is to look at his wife's face. Or shut up. Look at Mrs. Christie's face. She sort of looks at the guy like, you should stop talking, sir. Don't poke the bear.
Don't poke the bear, yeah. In this case, he used his driver. That's right. The club he used.
Dan, thanks. It was a high-stakes bet, but did it pay off?